Astra and Lyra, twin sisters born under the twin suns of Xylos, their bond was forged in the fires of their unique world, and from a young age they exhibited extraordinary abilities that set them apart from the rest of their peers. Their parents, both renowned warriors, knew that their daughters were destined for greatness. But not just any twins. These two were extraordinary. Their abilities were not just a result of their rigorous training, but also a manifestation of the unique energies of their home planet. Astra and Lyra were more than just siblings. They were a force of nature, each complementing the other's strengths and weaknesses. They came from the planet Xylos, a world lit by two suns. This dual illumination gave rise to a unique environment, one that was both harsh and beautiful. The twin suns symbolized the duality of their nature, Astra's fiery spirit and Lyra's calm demeanor.
Astra, with her bright red hair and a temper to match, moved like a red whirlwind. Her combat style was aggressive and relentless, a reflection of her fiery personality. She was always the first to charge into battle, her presence a beacon of hope and strength for her allies. She fought with incredible speed and power. Her movements were a blur, her strikes precise and devastating. Astra's enemies often found themselves overwhelmed by her sheer force, unable to keep up with her relentless assault. She was the Crimson Flash, a blur of motion, leaving scorched earth behind her. Her nickname was well earned, as she moved with the speed and ferocity of a lightning bolt, striking down her foes before they even knew what hit them.
Lyra, on the other hand, was calm and cool, her blue hair reflecting her peaceful nature. But don't be fooled. Beneath her serene exterior lay a warrior's heart, one that was just as fierce and determined as her sister's. Lyra's approach to combat was methodical and precise, a stark contrast to Astra's wild and untamed style. She was the Azure Blitz, a master of precise and deadly attacks, her movements as sharp as a surgeon's knife. Lyra's enemies often underestimated her calm demeanor, only to find themselves on the receiving end of her lethal precision. Her strikes were calculated, each one designed to incapacitate her opponent with minimal effort.
They were best friends, the fiercest of rivals, and always together. Until they weren't. Their bond was unbreakable, forged through countless battles and shared experiences. They pushed each other to their limits, always striving to be better, faster, stronger. But as they grew older, their paths began to diverge.
The best warriors on their planet trained them, honing their skills for years. Their training was grueling, designed to push them to their physical and mental limits. They learned to fight as a team, each one covering the other's weaknesses and enhancing their strengths. Their instructors knew that together Astra and Lyra were an unstoppable force. They were a powerful force, feared and respected across the galaxy. Together they were unstoppable. Their reputation spread far and wide, and they became known as the protectors of Xylos. Their enemies trembled at the mere mention of their names, knowing that facing the Crimson Flash and the Azure Blitz meant certain defeat. They were meant to protect Xylos. Their fates linked, their mission was clear, to defend their home from any threat, no matter how great. They stood as the last line of defense, their skills and determination the only things standing between their world and total destruction. But destiny had other plans. Despite their best efforts, forces beyond their control began to tear them apart. Their bond, once unbreakable, was tested in ways they could never have imagined. The future of Xylos hung in the balance, and the sisters would have to face their greatest challenge yet. It started with shaking. The ground beneath the city of Xylos trembled violently, sending waves of panic through its inhabitants. Buildings swayed, and the once serene skyline was now a chaotic dance of structures fighting to stay upright. People ran through the streets, their faces masks of fear and confusion, as the very foundation of their world seemed to betray them. Deep, unsettling tremors that shook Xylos to its core. Then came the explosion, a blinding flash of light followed by a deafening roar. The city was engulfed in fire and chaos, with debris flying in all directions. The once bustling metropolis was now a scene of utter devastation, with flames licking the sky and smoke billowing out like a dark omen. The South Pole, normally a peaceful place of crystal formations, erupted in fire and molten rock. The serene, icy landscape was transformed into a hellish inferno. Crystals that once stood tall and proud were now shattered, their fragments scattered across the molten ground. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning, and the sky was painted in hues of red and orange. This wasn't just a natural disaster, this was an attack. The precision and scale of the destruction were too calculated to be a mere accident. The devastation was widespread, leaving no corner of Xylos untouched. The once vibrant city was now a ghost town, its streets littered with the remnants of what once was.
The Xylosian elders, their faces filled with worry, met in the High Council chambers. The room, usually a place of calm deliberation, was now filled with tension. The elders, dressed in their ornate robes, spoke in hushed tones, their expressions grave. They knew that this was no ordinary threat. The very survival of their planet was at stake. The attacker, a rogue warlord known only as Kale, famous for his cruelty and desire for power. Kale, with his dark cloak and piercing eyes, was a figure of fear across the galaxy. His reputation for ruthlessness was well earned, and his ambitions knew no bounds. He had set his sights on Xylos, and he would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. He wanted the energy source hidden within Xylos's core, an energy source that could power his galactic conquests. This energy source was unlike any other, a glowing core of immense power. It was said to be the key to unlimited energy, a prize that Kale coveted above all else. With it he could fuel his war machines and extend his dominion across the stars.
The attack on the South Pole? A distraction. While the Xylosian forces were drawn to the fiery eruption, Kale's true plan was set into motion. The battle at the South Pole was fierce, with soldiers clashing amidst the flames and molten rock. But it was all a ruse, a clever ploy to divert attention from his real objective. While the Xylosian forces were busy, Kale's army snuck into the capital city. Under the cover of chaos, his elite troops infiltrated the city, moving with precision and stealth. They knew exactly where to go, their mission clear. The streets, now empty and silent, provided the perfect cover for their covert operation. Their target, the twins, the only ones who could use the planet's core energy and possibly turn the war in Kale's favor. The twins, gifted with a unique connection to the core, were the key to unlocking its power. They were the last hope for Xylos, and Kale knew that if he could control them, he could control the energy source. The fate of the planet now hung in the balance as the battle for its very soul began. Years went by. The universe continued its endless dance, stars being born and dying, planets forming and crumbling. Amidst this cosmic ballet, two lives were irrevocably altered. The twins, Astra and Lyra, separated during the chaos of an interstellar war, found themselves far from home. Each was thrust into a world they barely understood. Their bond stretched across the vastness of space. Astra, driven by a burning anger and a desire for vengeance, joined a group of space mercenaries. Her skills, once playful and innocent, were sharpened to a deadly point. She became a force to be reckoned with, her name whispered in fear across the galaxy. The memory of her lost sister fueled her every action. Every victory, every battle won was a step closer to finding Lyra. She clung to the hope that one day they would be reunited.
Lyra, always the clever and resourceful one, joined the Interstellar Peace Corps. She used her skills to protect the innocent and maintain peace across the galaxy. Her missions took her to the farthest reaches of known space, where she encountered beings and cultures beyond imagination. Despite the vast distances and the countless dangers, Lyra never gave up hope. She believed with every fiber of her being that Astra was out there, somewhere, alive and fighting. Her determination was unwavering, her resolve unbreakable.
Then their paths crossed on Kepler 186f, a beautiful planet teeming with life. This unlikely host of the yearly Intergalactic Games was a place where destinies intertwined. The planet's lush landscapes and advanced structures provided a stunning backdrop for the events that would unfold. The Intergalactic Games, a strange mix of sports and gladiator fights, attracted beings from all over the galaxy. Competitors came to prove their strength, skill and cunning. The games were a spectacle of athleticism and strategy, watched by millions across the stars.
Astra was there on a mission, not to compete, but to catch a criminal. This particularly slippery character had been hiding among the competitors, using the chaos of the games as cover. Astra's sharp eyes and honed instincts made her the perfect hunter. Lyra, on the other hand, was there on a peacekeeping mission. Her role was to ensure that the games didn't descend into chaos. She moved through the crowds with a calm authority, her presence a stabilizing force amidst the excitement and tension.
And then there he was, Darren, a figure from their past, a man whose actions had set their lives on this tumultuous path. His presence on Kepler 186f was no coincidence. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change everything. As Astra and Lyra's eyes met across the crowded arena, time seemed to stand still. The years of separation, the battles fought, and the hope that had kept them going all culminated in this moment. They were no longer the same people they had been, but their bond was as strong as ever. Together they would face Darren and whatever challenges lay ahead. The universe had brought them back together, and now nothing could tear them apart again. Darren, a handsome chap from the planet Zorgon. Imagine Earth, but more purple and with much stronger gravity. He was charming, quick-witted, and had a smile that could melt a glacier, or so it seemed to Astra and Lyra. He was competing in the games, of course, something about interdimensional javelin throwing having caught the eye of a Zorgon girl back home.
Astra first met him during a rather unfortunate incident involving a rogue grok. Think of a very large, very grumpy space hamster, and a spilled plate of Glarbonian noodles. Lyra met him during a particularly intense game of zero-gravity tiddlywinks. Don't ask. The important thing is they both fell for him, completely.
And so everything was in place for a new chapter in their connected destinies.